Has caught up with us. So also the sun setting is very early and the sunrise very late. Well, time advances or the seasons advance into winter time. It's very noticeable. So yeah, not much to report from my side. A little bit on the next over, I think. For now, I pass the microphone to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta.
Yeah, very good evening to all of you. This is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tank from Northern Germany. Yes, Tom has come here in Northern Germany, and well, here are not so good, but at the moment, it's time to experiment here in the Czech a little bit, and so we'll hope for the best for the next weeks. I hand the microphone back to GM4JKZ for the group.
Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango and Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey. Thank you from GM4JKZ. Yeah, autumn has certainly come up here. We've got 10 degrees at the moment outside, and like yourself, we've had some very heavy bouts of rain, but we did manage to get out this morning, take the dog for a walk down into the local woods and have a coffee in the cafe down there, which is rather nice. Okay, round to Lou, Golf 8, Juliet, round to you from GM4JKZ.
Yeah, very good evening, Keith. GM4JKZ and the group JKJJ. Greetings to everyone. Nice to be back on Thursday and meeting good friends. The WX in Nottingham, we've had sunny periods this morning, 15 degrees Celsius, but heavy rain in the afternoon. And at the moment, but it's a lot cooler. It's about 11 degrees Celsius. As far as operating is concerned, I've done very little this week, since the weekend. On Sunday, I did work a number of Japanese stations, and in fact, I had a mini pileup, which is very unusual for me, as normally I'm fighting to get through the pileups. But apart from that, most of my time, my radio time, has been spent building a dual band satellite antenna. And more on that on the next over. So back to you, Keith, the GM4JKZ and the group JKJJ.
JKJJ from GM4JKZ, yeah, that's final. And yeah, yes, it's nice to be in a pile up. When I was running FT8 a little while ago, I worked one Japanese station, and along came another 7 in a row. So it's quite interesting once they latch onto you, and you don't know which way to turn, of course. And okay on the satellite antenna. I look forward to hearing that on the next round. Okay, let's go. Here we now Delta Golf 6 Oscar Alpha Yankee from Golf Mike 4 Juliet Kilo Zulu.
Yeah, hello, good evening to everyone. And the weather, actually you can take the weather report from Mike Notty and out to 2 or 3 hours later. But I think we got a little bit less rain, so I was active on the bike in between the showers, looking at the weather radar over the internet, and so I can plan my short trips and try to stay dry. You're right, I've been chasing Boulder again. And unfortunately, God, and for 18 doesn't seem to be here this evening, because my goal was to reach 1,000 photographs, and now I'm close to 300 cars, 292 or so with my photo, and that's probably about 10% of that number, and yeah, it doesn't seem to be here. We have again some problems also, and yeah, well, whatever, and like over back to he of course they can be.
Yeah, DG6OAY. Yeah, fine there, Frank. From okay, you know, the bottom cropped up piece at the bottom of the list at the moment on the dashboard. So he will be no doubt giving his percentages and numbers in the next couple of overs or so. Okay, Andrew, round you, M0ROL with the group. Nice to hear you on tonight from DM4JKZ.
Yes, DM4JKZ, M0ROL. Yes, good evening, Keith, and everyone on the net tonight. Yes, it's good to be on the net tonight after such a long spell. I hate to disappoint, but I think that to make it my one and only over for tonight. I just finished 3 continuous days of chemo, so I'm fairly joint out, but I just wanted to get back on zero for the next 3 months. Well, I'm having to be when I have nothing else to do but be on the radio, so hopefully next week there'll be a little bit more to say. I've experimented with using today to try and get a cursory go with Dave because he likes diffusion. And by the way, Dave did say that he can't make it tonight, so ZSN sends his apologies, but he's got his daughter around, so he won't be able to make it. But yeah, it's good to hear all your voices. And if you don't mind, if I just sit back and listen to all the envious radio talk that's going on, and hopefully next week I'll have a little bit more to contribute. So yeah, nice to hear you all again after all this time. So back to the for the Z in the group M0ROL.
In the ROL with group GM4JKZ. Yeah, fine, Andrew, and as I say, good to hear you on tonight. And yeah, keeping my fingers crossed for you, but nice to see that you're experimenting with fusion. I started off with that about 3 or 4 years ago. I must admit, I haven't used it for a very long time. So maybe I ought to get one of my spare hotspots back up and running on that mode. And thanks for the info on Dave's ZSN. And in P4JJ won't be with us tonight. He's at his engineering club, model engineering club, with his steam train. So there we go. And fine, I'll let you sit back and have a listen to what we're all been making of it. From my perspective, mainly been garden for the last week or so, with autumn coming, doing hedges and cutting down plants and trying to find corners to back them away out of, rather than drive 10 miles to the local Sept to recycle it. So there we go. Okay, there's your next G4IWO with a group from DM4JKZ.
GM4JKZ and the group from G4IWO. Yeah, thank you very much, Keith, and good evening, everybody, and a special good evening to Andrew, M0ROL. Lovely to hear you back on the radio this evening, and we'll undoubtedly hear you again, and we'll try for some HF contacts when you're up to that, Andrew. Yeah, weather here up in the Pennines is very, very wet. We've had torrential rain this afternoon and thunder and lightning interspersed with bits of sunshine. Temperatures just dipped under 10 degrees Celsius, but feels a lot colder outside in the rain. So we're definitely into autumn, and who knows what winter's going to bring us. I haven't done an awful lot of radio since spending the day down at the Hamfest last Friday, but I'll give a good report on that. And I know I've got to post some photographs and video from the Hamfest, and will do so in the next few days. We recruited 3 new members to the club down there, which is great. And we had some very interesting chats, and we also looked after the GQRP club stand for them as well, and sold many of the GQRP items that they have for sale through their club, and I've helped them out again. I think a lovely little partnership between our club and GQRP. But more on the next over. Back to you, Keith. GM4JKZ, G4IWO.
The 4IWO group, GM4JKZ. Yeah, fine there, Nick. And yeah, I just look at Lindsay's and Alan's videos that they did, but I was trying to look for our Pennine ham, but unfortunately they just concentrated on the main equipment providers, which is a bit of a shame. Although one of them did touch on the DQRP stand that omitted our flag if it was there. Okay, right, next down on the list is Bob at N4XAT. Over to you in the States there, Bob, from GM4JKZ and the group.
GM4JKZ in the group. Good afternoon or good evening, Keith. I'm not used to hearing that strange voice as a control operator. You sound good, though. You sound good, Keith. Not a lot to report from here. I got back a bit on my quota. Microsoft has done some strange updates recently for security reasons, and one of the things that they did, they put a block on my scanner. They put a block on my scanner, and today I even had trouble downloading a picture to my 705 because they've done something else there, and I just haven't figured everything out. So I've been spending a lot of time with my computer, with the Microsoft computer, trying to get my printer and scanner working with it. And I've followed the instructions, and the instructions say, hey, delete it and then reload it, and that may help. I did that, and it at first I thought it helped, but then it got blocked again, so I don't know what's going on with that. Total-wise, so I have been doing all right, except on POTA, I no longer can get into my stats, which I don't understand either. But I guess when you get to be my age, I'm not conned on computer expertise, even though one time I was a computer expert. That was over 20 years ago, and today they've just lost very high. But I am doing all right on POTA. Today there is quite a bit of QSB, and so far today I've only worked about 11 today, and I really can't tell you exactly where I stand. I was 800 and something about a week ago. I was 800 out of 51,000. So I can't complain where I stand. And since then, I've made several more contacts, but I just haven't been able to look at my stats. So with that, back to you. Thank you for picking me up, and thank you for running the net. GM4JKZ was a group, remember 4 X-Ray Tango.
Before it play Alpha Tango with the group GM4JKZ, yeah, it's fine there, Bob. And yeah, not so good that you can't get into your scanners and you're having problems on your Mac access as well. If I'm looking at my right list, I think last week you had 2,714 post contacts, 244 GX from 24 countries. Although I didn't put a date on this one, so it could have been one a little bit earlier. There we go. And Yes, it's all coming back to me now, running a net, because I used to run the South Sussex Ray net. We used to rotate it, but that was back in the 80s. I used to do it, so if I'm very a bit rusty, my apologies. Okay, I see that we have we have the TD786 up as well. So, are there any stations through TD786 this evening which would like to join our net? Please send your call sign now. From here, it seems not, so let's go back to the top of the list. Mike and Adriana, DL1 DJW with DL8 BD2 with a group from PM4JKZ.
Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey, yeah. Last weekend there were several contests, and one was the All Asian contest. I tried to work a little bit in it, but otherwise this was that some hours ago. I didn't hear or work one Japanese mission. Conditions were not so good for me locally, perhaps. I'm not quite sure, but I did work Bravo Golf 0 Delta Lima Alpha from Western China in SSB on 15 meters, and it was nice. But that was the only thing which was worth to be mentioned. Otherwise, I've done a lot of SOTA and COTA chasing and hunting in CW, which is quite fun, especially if you are using only 5 watts or less. That is sufficient for working in Europe here, and it's quite fun. One thing to add, I've seen on the internet, I think, that Wiesmann Uniform Foxtrot Oscar G70 is manufacturing and selling some items for amateur radio. One of these is a mini microphone, which can be ordered already assembled from him, and which is relatively cheap, costs about 40 euros, I think, or even less, I think. There's postage which is included in the 40 euros. And I was keen on one of these. There are 2 kinds, one for the QMX and other little rigs, and one for the KX2, and I'm not quite sure, some other rigs. And as I've got an Aircraft KX2, I was looking into it, ordered it from him, and it shall be on the way, so he tells me. I'm very excited about it and looking forward to getting it. This microphone is very short, very small. It's about the size of my little finger at the hand, and it's much more portable than the Aircraft hand mic, which is the normal size and fits into the palm, but much bigger than the G7 UFO kind. And so it's stored away much more easy than the original mic when you're going outside. And this was my reason for ordering it. So I'm looking forward to it, and will report on its function when it's arrived each time. So passing the microphone for now to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
Yeah, this is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango for the group. Yes, on my side, I have nothing quite spectacular to report here. I've made some tests for the QMX today in the evening, and was quite good propagation into the US and into the Caribbean here with 5 watts. This was quite nice. And yes, the last edition of our ham radio magazine, this QDL, was quite interesting because there was an article about a kit, which is called Charlie Papa Kilo 4, CPK4. It's a small transceiver, which a transmitter, and it's available for 20 meters and also for 7 and 10 megahertz, and it costs about 20 euro. It comes from a shop on the internet, and I have ordered one, but it's not here. The interesting thing is it's a very small transmitter, and it has an inbuilt very, very small key. I don't know if it's handleable here, or if my fingers are even too large to work with the key. But I think it might be quite interesting, and you have to use a receiver on the internet to follow up the contact. So it's kind of toy, I think, but it might be quite interesting. By the way, when I had been searching for the page on the internet where I can buy it, it's crkids.com, Chinese radio kits. And there are also several other quite interesting kits to build. And some of them have also been mentioned and tested by Peter Parker, VK3 Yankee Echo. So it perhaps might be interesting to look that up for you. So I hand the microphone back to Keith. This was Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango with Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey from GM for JKZ. I think I'm going to put those down in my log as the expert. And yeah, it sounds fascinating. A mic the size of your little finger. It's almost like the size of the clip-on mic, I suppose, isn't it? To some degree. And the CPK4 kit sounds quite fascinating with a built-in key. So I shall certainly go and have a look at the VR.com website once we're done. And if Peter's tested it over in VK land, then he may probably have already put it on his website as a video. So that would be interesting to go and have a look at, I must admit. From my perspective, contest, I did work the Russian Rugby contest at the weekend, and I was facing predominantly all Europe and two in the USA. And accrued 266 points. Interesting thing is, when I looked at their log website, I'm the only Scottish station that submitted a log because I'm in others' logs. So I had an email requesting to put my log in. But there we go. Okay, let's move on to this time now. Golf Kilo Juliet from GM4JKZ of the group.
GM4 JKZ and the group GKJJ. Yes, fine business, Keith. Well, first, congratulations to Adrian into the States with 5 watts. Conditions haven't been that brilliant, I don't think, this week. They were again, I think they were quite good. And earlier, very, very good. But it's been going downhill recently. Regarding the satellite antenna that I've been messing about with, it's a hybrid Moxon Yagi which I think is well known and has been well documented. And I decided to build the antenna using materials and parts that I already had. So I went to my very expensive junk boxes and found short length of PVC trunks which had been used, already used and taken out of a thing I'd been doing, and some copper pipe, 8mm copper pipe, and a short length of and short lengths of 5mm aluminium rod. And using the published details as the basis of the antenna, I modelled it with easy neck and adjusted the design to suit. And yeah, it's gone together quite well. Having completed it, I did try working a few stations, terrestrial stations, and I did work two, one on 70 steps and one on 2 meters, and it seemed to work out quite well. And I tried to do the satellites, and I was using Look for Sat. I think it's an Android. It is an Android program for spotting satellites. I did try to hear a variety of satellites, FM, CW, and beacons, and so on. But unfortunately, I didn't hear any at all. And I think, I don't know why that is. Obviously, I'm going to have another go on another day, but either there's something wrong with the antenna, or I'm doing something wrong as regards the direction. I mean, the software that I was using for SAT gave the azimuth and the elevation, and it seemed okay. But I will have another go and see how that works out. The SWR on 2 meters is below 1.3 across the band, and on 70 centimeters less than 1.5 on the that I used. I wonder if the gain of the antenna is not great enough. It's a 4-element Yagi on 70 sems, and of course it's a Moxon on 2 meters. I do have a picture which I will send when we get to that point, a picture of the antenna so people can see what it's like. Anyway, back to you, Keith. GM4 JKZ and the group G8KJJ.
Yeah, KJJ for the group GM4 JKZ. You've been very industrious then over the last week or so, and PVC, Apple, copper, 5mm aluminium rods, excellent stuff. I've got some welding rods that I've got here, not my, I can't think what it's called now, the omnidirectional antenna, but it's only got as far as having a few bits bent up and some pipe cut and drilled. It was put back in a project box down in the workshop when other things came around a few weeks ago. So good to use work 270 stations on it, and range that you can't hear anything on the satellite side of things, even though you've got the right headings, etc. From my perspective, I tend to use heavens above for satellite predictions, and what I like about it is that you can ask it to tell you before the satellite comes into view by sending me a message on my phone, which is quite useful until it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And it can be a bit annoying, but we have to put up with that, that's for sure. Okay, where are we now? We're down to Frank, Delta Golf 6. Oscar Alpha Yankee with Chris from GM4 JKZ.
Because every time I was on the net, I get so many ideas for POP projects and projects, and yes, I can also add that I'm also using Heavens Above. Sometimes for just finding out when the ISS is over the horizon. Sometimes for listening to it, or sometimes just for watching it, for investors who have never seen the ISS before, and are impressed by the speed and the brightness. yeah, days. It's good that the cell phones have so powerful to help us because nowadays that we know that the three line element heads of the Starlink satellites. So if you look at the screen for visible satellites, the sky is full with Starlink satellites, especially towards the south from our more northern location. But yeah, some years ago, maybe 3, 4 years ago, I managed to see a set of just launched Starlink satellites, and that was impressive. A string of, I don't know, 20, 30 or so bright dots in a row crossing the sky, and yeah, that was interesting. Although that actually produces a lot of junk. Yeah, I cannot justify buying more handhelds or more QoP radios, so I found something else. I ordered magnetic hardware, and I started with radio because I was interested in packet radio and the networking stuff, and now I'm back to that. Now I will try to explore mesh tactics a little bit, and the first device arrived today. But I need a second one to send myself a messages because there's actually no real network here. And I got the 430 megabits version, the amateur radio version, to get more links and be able to do more experiments. Hope to report about that in one of the next network. Yeah, and so far I cannot report so much about the devices. I just download one to my cell phone. And back to Keith.
Oh, EB6OAY with a group from GM4JKZ. Yes, hi there, Frank. And yeah, I've used the ISS by eye just once. I knew it was coming over, and up here we had a pitch black night, which was great. And my daughter didn't believe when she was up here playing with us that you'd view it, and she was quite impressed, particularly with the speed it goes over as well, and you could see the outline perfectly with the naked eye. So, talking about the processing power of mobile phones as well, there's a fascinating video on YouTube on a group that were trying to get the Apollo 11 computer working again. I'm not sure what the title was, but if you put in Apollo 11 computer, if you're interested, it's quite a fascinating video to watch. And the Starlink spring, I've not seen those yet, but good on you for seeing them right away. Fantastic. Like you, there's no real network up here, but it does look interesting for anyone sort of down in the towns, etc. But up here, I did look at the 433 version, but decided to give it a miss at the moment. So there we go. Righty-ho, Andrew's sitting out listening. I'll pass it straight on to Nick then for your info. Go forward to the Whiskey Oscar with group from GM4JKZ.
GM4JKZ and the group from G4IWO. Yeah, thank you very much, Keith, and some interesting contributions there. I can see Keith, Lou, G8KJJ has just moved up a tad in frequencies to play with antennas at higher frequencies, and I'm sure you will have great success with that combined Moxon and 70 SEMS antenna. It'll be very interesting to see how you get on with that, Lou. And yeah, I'm very pleased that with assistance from Owen M0 OGR, we seem finally now to have resolved the issues of getting our club website found by the search engines on the internet. It's still work in progress, so it's still working its way through updating the search engines. But in the end, I mean, Owen and I spent about an hour and a half on a Zoom call last night, going through the club website and seeing what we had done and what we should do. and updating just a couple of little items, and it suddenly made a huge difference. And we built the website on a Google platform because we were using Google Sheets to share club information on, using Google Docs. We've got the Google Calendar on the website. So we thought, well, rather than spend money, we'll use Google. But it turned out to be surprisingly difficult to get it to do exactly what we wanted to do. But the solution in the end was very simple. And I guess to Bob N4XAT, struggling with some update that's taken place on Windows that drive us all bonkers. I'm pretty sure that the solution, Bob, will end up in the end being very simple indeed, and you'll work your way around it. But no, it's very hard to keep up with what's going on there. And to Adriana, yeah, I've had a look at the CR Kits site. They've got some interesting little kits there. Obviously, ones to operate on QRPP for Whisper and FT8 as well. One that looks quite an interesting, and that's the one I can see. I hadn't seen that before, Adriana, with the references to commentary by Peter Parker on that particular kit as well, which is definitely worth having a read. Going back to the National Hamfest last week, we did have a very good day. Yes, we did have the flag up, the Pennine Ham flag, and we had the club logo and additional banner across the front of the stand, and we were literally next door to the GQRP club stand, and our members were looking after it and having a very enjoyable day. I mean, we chatted all day to people, and some very interesting chats. As I said, we signed up 3 new members to the club, but hopefully we'll see some at our coming meeting, and I'll talk about that on my final over. But our next club online meeting is next week on the 17th of September, and that should be a very interesting meeting as well. So that really has been my radio activities, although I did dabble a little bit in the All Asian contest, really only because they were plastered all over the bands other than the walk bands. And I made contacts in the contest there to various parts of the world, in Asia, which was very good, down into Thailand and into Japan and China and Oman and so on, Kazakhstan. So I'm pleased to have at least just dabbled for a little bit in that contest. And I see Ken was active on 10 meters earlier on. He's posted a couple of videos that we'll put up on the club website of his latest activities down in Echo Alpha 5. And he's posted a couple of videos just showing where he's operating from in the salt lagoons, actually on a road in between 2 massive salt lagoons. And when you look at that and see the effect the salt lagoons have on his propagation when he's using the radio there, the vertical antenna, it's no surprise that he's just getting contacts all over the world, given the water he's got on really 2 very big sides from where he's operating. So it's covering a very large operating distance and enhancing his propagation considerably, enabling him to work this incredible DX. And I know, because I chatted to Ken before he went over to Spain at the weekend, about his operations down there in Echo Alpha 5. And I know that's one of the things that's giving him just immense pleasure to run a relatively low power, simple radio station, and to be on the receiving end of a whole pile up of DX contacts. Great fun. So back to you, Keith. GM4JKZ in the group, G4IWO.
Yeah, of course, okay, yeah, fine there, Nick. And Yeah, I managed to work in the other evening while he was down in between those two lagoons, and he kindly put audio on WhatsApp for me, and it's really nice to see how my voice and my signal is heard down in Spain. It's a lot clearer than I thought it would be. So he does a grand job for us, I must admit. And on the club website, that explains why I couldn't find it as well. I did notice on WhatsApp the notes that the website's now visible. So I will go and have a look at that one. And over on the Handfest, it's the same really. I came back from gym last Wednesday, and not yesterday, the week rather. And the other half wasn't feeling too brilliant, and I thought, well, I've been away for 2 weeks, week with my daughter and a week with Jim. I was planning originally to come back on Friday and stop off at the Handfest on the way back up, but perhaps I'll have to schedule it in for next. That's the answer. I'll get it in the calendar now before we forget. Okay then. Down to Bob there over in the States. November 4 X-Ray Alpha Tango with the group DM4JKZ.
DM4JKZ with November 4 X-Ray Alpha Tango. Good copy on everyone this evening. We had several days where it was like fall weather here. That's all changed today. Right now it is 26 Celsius, and with high ultraviolet warnings. They say stay out of the sun as much as we can. Nick, I sent you a link to the latest U.S. QRP site. And there are a couple of good articles in there. I found there were a couple of good articles in there. I'm sure you'll see some good ones also. Frank, thank you for those links. I was aware of that submarine off of, excuse my pronunciation, Naval Land. I was aware of that one, but I thank you for those links. I appreciate that, Frank. My big thing this week, of course, was my QSO with Ken on Tuesday. I was shocked. First of all, I was on a Zoom meeting with the Bradford group, and Henry was there, and I tuned the frequency here right away, and I couldn't hear Ken at all, but I let Henry know that Ken was on, and I gave him the frequency. Well, I let it sit there. Of course, I was on the Zoom net, and later, all of a sudden, I started hearing Ken. So I called. Eventually, I got through to him. And he took out to me. I gave him a 5-3, and I forget what he gave me. But at any rate, it was great working at Ken from the Salt Lagoon. Hi. And Nick, I appreciate those. I think it was you that posted the photos from the Handfest, and I appreciate them. And I'm looking forward. I think you said you were going to put it on video also. I'm looking forward to that. I do have a little more on my last go around, and I'll save it for that. Back to you, Keith. GM4KZ, November 4, X-Ray Alpha Tango.
November 4 X-Ray Alpha Tango from GM4KZ. Yeah, fine there, Bob. And 26 degrees centigrade. I think remember we used to have that. I'm now down to 8.8 degrees outside, 21 degrees here in the shack tonight. But high UV, yeah, not a good idea to go out in that without a hat on, of course. And it's good play with Ken, yeah, France, yeah, USA to Spain. And yeah, with Tuesday night, I just found my note at 9 o'clock. We could have been 8 o'clock GMT last Tuesday, and we started off at a 5 and 5, although we both ended up at a 5 and 8. So, and even clear the bell. So, I'm at the point somewhere, and so lots of calls in it. The answer, I think. Right, okay. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go down the call list again, and after we've done the final round of such, I'll go back. Nick, if I leave you till last, if that's all right, and then I'll go. Bob probably got a and I've got one as well. So we'll do it in that format if everyone's happy. If not, let me know on your rotors there. So round to Mike and Adriano. Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey with Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango with the group from PM for JKZ.
Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey, yeah. First of all, Loom, yeah, G8KJJ. Very interesting what you told us about your satellite antenna self-built. Would be very interesting to see more of it. Perhaps you can put some pictures on the WhatsApp group. That would be very interesting. And Nick and Owen would work with the club's website or with the reason improving the visibility on search machines for the club website. Thank you for that, for your trouble. And Bob, congratulations to Working Ken. It sounds great, and it's really astonishing regarding your, could say, limited power and antenna possibilities there on your side. That's astonishing, and it's very good. Well done. I hope, Bob, that we will sometime succeed to have a QSO. That would be nice. I'm looking forward to that. If I understand, that's the final round now. So I say thank you very much for all of your company, good ideas, and very interesting stuff. It was a pleasure again to be to the meeting, and it's always good to participate on a Thursday evening, something to look forward to for the whole week. And Dimitris, best wishes all around my side. Have a nice weekend coming up and a very good start into the new week. And let's keep our fingers crossed that conditions will be good at the weekend. As I saw in my notes, there must be another big contest coming up. I think it's a World All Europe contest in SSP even. So perhaps we can use that a little bit and make something about of it. That would be nice. So thank you again. Best wishes. And of course, not to be forgotten, Keith, thank you for sharing the net and doing a very good job. Passing the microphone for now to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
Yeah, this is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango for this group. Thank you for this interesting evening. It's always a pleasure to be with you there on the Thursday evening. And thank you, Nick, and all the others for your good work at Newark. It will be very interesting to see the videos from the Hempstead there. Yes, we also followed up YouTube videos from Column and what was the other? I think Peter Waters did a small report, but it would be very, very interesting to see you in action there at Newark, and it is always a pleasure to watch you there. So also for good and good DX, and hope to meet you soon down the road. 7088 from Northern Germany. This was Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango. Passing the microphone to GM4 JKZ for the group.
Delta Lima Bravo Delta Tango with Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey from GM for JKZ. Yeah, thanks, Mike and Adriana, for joining us this evening. And yes, it's a WAD DX contest this weekend coming. That could be interesting. And a good idea to put some photos on WhatsApp of your antenna there. Excuse me. It could be would be good to have a look and see how it's coming on, so to speak. Okay, round to Lou now, and one thing before I pass it on to say last time round, Adriana, congrats on your 5 watts into the US and the Caribbean area. So you must fight harder though because you're a half watt lady, remember. Anyway, round to Lou. Golf 8 Kilo Juliet with a group from PM4JK.
DM4 JKZ and the group JKJJ. Thanks. And thanks for the information about Heavens Above software. I will have a look at that. I think maybe I was checking whilst filming, and I was checking on the phone and also on the tablet because I put this software, this look for Sat, on both the tablet and the phone, and I noticed that the azimuth is different. So when I was using the tablet, I was actually not looking in the right direction. But I will check that. I will check that on another day. And okay, Nick, about the National the National Hamfest. I didn't get there because it's just down the road for me, and I come. But unfortunately, things were at the moment, so it was not possible. But I will look forward to the video when you post that. And Mike, I will put the information about the antenna on I'm not on the WhatsApp group. Maybe I should get myself put on there because it might get to more people. But I will put it on Facebook, and I'm going to share a picture tonight of the antenna. So those of you who got the picture sharing facility, then you'll be able to see the antenna. I don't know whether it will come out brilliantly, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks very much, Keith, for your hosting of the net. It's been a very enjoyable net, and I'm going to look forward to next week's net. So 73s to everyone, and all the best for the coming week. I've forgotten the number. GM4 JKZ and the group GAKJJ.
JKJ with the group GM4 JKZ. Yeah, fine there, Lou. And yeah, I've got you down as listed as with a picture at the end. Pretty good. So that would be 3 of us. That would be yourself, Bob, and myself. Although I've not glued mine up yet. And look at the difference between the phone and the tablet. That's interesting. So yeah, have a look at above. I found it to be very, very accurate, and particularly with the ISS. I used the ISS in download pictures, and it was actually telling me about a minute before it was ALS over the horizon, which is quite useful for tuning in. Bearing in mind, I don't have a directional antenna. I was just downloading the pictures from the ISS on my collinear on the roof, which seems to work reasonably well, I must admit. As long as the elevation was not too high, do I say. Okay, round to that, Frank. Still the Golf 6 Oscar Alpha Yankee with the group from DM4JZ.
Well, these days, it's way back. Yeah, I was thinking about Windows and around Windows can be painful sometimes, but when I think about installing new firmware on some kind of tiny devices, I think more than 30 years ago, this could have been a CNC, also corporate radio. When I wanted to install a new firmware, I had to delete the EEPROM with an ultraviolet light and had to build something so that I could program the new firmware into the EEPROM, and that took a lot of time. And while today I received the fantastic device, it's from the company Liligo, and it's called Tico, has an e-ink display, I noticed that they probably had an old version of the firmware or something non-specific. So, yeah, basically it was absolutely easy. I just connected it to the USB port. It was recognized by Windows, and I just had to download the latest firmware of the browser and drag and drop the firmware on the drive number of the device. It was being recognized as a small USB device. So I just drag and drop the firmware, and then the firmware installed itself. So that is all around. Taking a look at how I did it 30 years back or so, and yeah. But as mentioned, I will try to report about the stuff and if it works as expected, ranges and what else can be done. I actually thought about using it as a kind of page note, so transmitting or reading reports from the extractor and sending messages to the e-ink display. We'll see if that works out. Yeah, so thank you everyone, and especially thank you Keith for running the net. You are a very good staff, I have. And yeah, then I would like to close with 73. And until the next time, from GG6YY and pass it on to GM4JKZ.
Yeah, right, for Yankee from GM4JKZ. Yeah, okay, they're playing fine. And drag and drop firmware updates, love it. A while ago with him, I did do the firmware update on his 705, which was done via the card. And the other one I updated his 52 for him as well. So both working, but I think he's still got a slight little problem on his 705 on D-Star, where it received okay, but his transmit signal to his hotspot is not recognised by the hotspot. So I was spending the day scratching my head to see what that could be a problem of. But I left him to work his way through the handbook. He's been a bit busy this week with many other things. So I could find out on Sunday all being well, and we may find out next Thursday. And yeah, thanks for your thanks for me sharing this week. It's been interesting. So there we go. Okay, Andrew hopefully is still monitoring. Round two, Bob first, and then we'll do you finally, Nick, if that's all right with you. November 4 X-Ray Alpha Tango with the group from GM4JKZ.
November 4 X-Ray Alpha Tango. You just call me, Keith?
Yes, for your final, and then I'll go on to Nick, and then I'll come back to you and Lou and myself for the pictures afterwards. Go ahead.
Okay. On this round, I'll try to update you as best I can. Last week, as you probably already have written down, I had 2,714 parks, and I was 862 out of 51,584 hunters, so I was doing pretty good. As I say, I have not been able to get on that site to up those stats all week. However, I do know how many new quotas I have. As of this morning, I had 2,738 quotas total. So that gives me 24 more quotas. And as I say, I really can't say where I stand in the standing, but it doesn't change that much from week to week. So I'm somewhere in the mid 800s, let's say, still. And as far as I know, I haven't got any new countries, so I'm about the same there. I do have a nice photo, and it's an old German ship that
was a war trophy and is now used by the U.S. Coast Guard. And I'll do that when we do our photos. Back to you, Keith. GM4JKZ, November 4, X-ray Alpha Tango. Yeah, November 4, X-ray Alpha Tango. Yeah, finally, Bob from GM4JKZ. And yeah, that's pretty good. 862 up to 51,584. Excellent stuff. So, and okay on the picture Dynamo. I noticed that we've got one more call sign just popped up on the dashboard. So, Gold Zero, Tango Victor Bravo, if you're there, from GM4JKZ. Go ahead, Paul. Nothing heard, so maybe just listening and reload. Okay, let's hear then. The 4IWO group from GM4JKZ.
Yeah, GM4JKZ and the group from G4IWO. Yeah, first of all, Ken is now on 20 meters on 14.180 single sideband. So definitely worth looking out for him after the net's finished if anyone's got the opportunity. He just posted his working ZL1 KVA at the moment on 20 meters. So he's obviously having some success with the DX. So good net tonight, and well done, Keith. Great job of sharing the net, and very enjoyable contributions from everyone. So next week at the club on Wednesday, we have Dave M0BGR, who wrote 3 articles for the RSGB magazine Ragcon, and those articles, the heading of those articles was "Safety is not an accident," and they were very interesting and giving lots of advice to us all as radio amateurs. And as I put on the club website this week, and I'll probably make a similar comment in the email newsletter going round, you know, we do have a responsibility to be mindful of our own safety, but also the safety of our family and friends, and of course our neighbours and the wider public. And simple things that we do, like climbing a ladder, can be extremely dangerous if you were to tumble. I've got personal experience of opening up a valve linear amplifier when you've got 2 kilovolts at the top of that can also be potentially a life-threatening experience. So health and safety for us is definitely something worth considering. So looking forward to Dave's contribution next week. And then a fortnight after that, we've got our very good friend Emil DL8 JJ, who's also going to come and talk to us about his D expedition to Peñata del Moro off the Spanish coast when he was operating as EA5 stroke DL8 JJ. So that should be some interesting photographs and some comments by Emil. And knowing how active he's been since, he's been in Greenland since he did that trip to Peñata del Moro, I'm quite sure that Emil's going to be telling a few other stories as well of his activities around the planet. So good night, everybody, 73s, and lovely to work you all, and see you all next week. Back to you, Keith. GM4JKZ, G4IWO.
All right, IWO with your GM4JKZ. Yeah, fine there, Nick. And yeah, thanks for reminding us of safety, not an accident next week. In my profession, I used to go around saying health and safety is legalised common sense. So if you haven't got any common sense, you don't stand a chance. And good that Emil is going to give us a talk the following week. Re the expedition to that Spanish name that I can't pronounce, off the Spanish coast. That's brilliant. Okay, right. So it's the time now. So let's go to in this order. If we go to Lou first, and then we'll go to Bob, and then I'll follow up finally, if that's okay. And it's been great seeing the nets tonight, I must admit. Some of those thoughts of running Raynet nets is coming back, but it would be much more fair and much more interesting rather than just sending information and accessibility and availability for the forthcoming week, etc. Oh, round to you, Lou. Gold plate, Kilo Juliet for your picture. KZ.
TM4 JKZ, JKJJ. Yeah, fine, Keith. I just got a saying about common sense. Common sense is none too common. That's the saying anyway. But anyway, here's the picture.
AJJ with the group TM4JKZ. Two-thirds of that was missing, Lou. I also note that I could not hear any audio coming through, so your transmit audio may be a little bit too low. Go ahead.
That's the one. Do you want me to do it again, Keith? Go ahead.
Yeah, if you can, and up the audio level on the picture would be a benefit.
Okay, doing it now.
TM4JKZ, yeah, still a few more blocks. Bob, how did you copy N4AT TM4JKZ?
I could use it again. The second transmission was much better. The first half of the picture came through just fine, but the second half of the beam on down is pretty poor.
Okay, the KJJ, back to you then, Lou. If up the audio a bit more, any help from TM4JKZ?
Yeah, okay, Keith. The problem is that I'm a newbie at this, so if it doesn't work this time, I think we'll go on to the next picture. I did wonder if there might be a problem. It's something it's the first time I've done it, so maybe that's the problem. Anyway, here's the picture.
Unfortunately, because that's filled in quite a lot there now, Lou. I've just fundamentally got the bottom half of the antenna is still missing, but I get the drift of it now with the blue boom that you've got there. How do you copy Bob N4XOTG and 4JKZ?
It sounds like the same as you received it. I have one block missing on the antenna itself, just below the blue as it begins. And I have only a total of 4 blocks missing, and they're all in the bottom, but now I can see the antenna well enough that I don't need a reset.
Okay, Bob from the M4JKZ. Righto, Lou, thanks for that. And it's good for the first attempt. I do know others that have not achieved this standard, so excellent job. And I think we're using an ID50 if I'm correct. But okay, right, back to you there then, Bob, for your picture from the M4JKZ.
This is a picture of the United States Coast Guard cutter Eagle, which is their training ship. And of course, that was a war trophy. Originally, it was the Horst Wessel, the German training ship that had been decommissioned. And then during the beginning of World War II, they recommissioned it. But at the end of the war, of course, it became a trophy of ours. And the U.S. Coast Guard still uses it. So here goes.
Yeah, lovely picture there, Bob. I've just got done the line almost completely missing, and a few spots down on the vessel itself. How did you copy the G8KJJ with the GM4JKZ?
So it's a very nice picture. In fact, I've got that picture on my placemat on the dining table. It's very good indeed. Brett, go ahead.
Yeah, can you send it again, love? GM4JKZ, you're copying, Bob?
Actually,
Yes, if you could, thank you.
N4XAT